go. God.
The Lord is my shepherd. He goes before me. Defender behind me. I won't fear. I'm filled with anointing. My cup's overflowing. No weapon can harm me. I won't fear. Always holds me close. He always guides me through mountains and valleys. His joy is refreshing. Restores my soul. Mercy and goodness give me assurance that I'll see His glory. Lift your voice, say, He's my comfort, He's my comfort, always holds me close. Oh, hallelujah, I am not alone. No, no. Your spirit lives within me, so I will walk in your peace. Your spirit lives within me, my victory, my victory. Your spirit lives within me, so I will walk in your peace. Your spirit lives within me, my victory, my victory. Your spirit lives within me, so I will walk in your peace. Your spirit lives within me, my victory, my victory. Your spirit lives within me, so I will walk in your peace. Your spirit lives within me, my victory, my victory, my victory. you're my victory, my victory. Hallelujah. Is it your victory today?
Good morning, testing 1, 2, 3.
You're not alone. No, 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 no. Hallelujah, I am not alone. He's my comfort. Always, always holds me close.
Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. No copyright infringement intended. All rights belong to their respective owners.
This is War Cry. We're on the wall crying out for our children, our communities, our schools, our churches, our families. This is War Cry. Welcome to our reality. Gun violence, Chicago, Philly, Detroit, New York, Atlanta, just to name a few. Our black children are dying day by day. This is War Cry. Police brutality. Hands up! Don't move. I can't breathe. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag All Lives Matter to Christ. This is War Cry. Drugs, rape, mass shootings, school violence. This is War Cry. Galvanizing people to pray for our children and to take action. Let's march on Washington. We want prayer back in school. This is War Cry. Candles, memorials in every corner in our neighborhood. Who died this weekend? Oh no, not Miss Martha's grandson. This is War Cry. He was only 16. His brother died last year. He was only 13. This is War Cry. We the people. We're the elected officials. This is War Cry. We need the church. Where's the church? Only on Sundays. Get to the streets, church. We need you out there. This is War Cry. Girl, be gone. Boy, be gone. Mothers crying. Fathers being locked up. Welcome to our reality. Identity crisis. This is War Cry. Oh, they're trying to remove our history off the textbook. Oh, critical race theory? It makes them feel bad. It's our reality. Fake reality shows. We want the real truth. Stay woke. This is War Cry. HBCUs under attack. This is War Cry. Equal pay for what we do. We want a reparation. This is War Cry. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Wait a minute. Is that somebody else they're burying that looks like us? Only 12. This is War Cry. Oh, let us come together and pray for our young people, pray for our communities, pray for our schools, pray for our churches, pray that the government gives us what we need, a fair opportunity. This is War Cry, home of the land, home of the brave, land of the free. Who's free? Our men are locked up. This is War Cry. Hashtag mothers against gang violence. Hashtag fathers who love their sons. Hashtag what would Jesus do? This is War Cry.
I know who goes before me. I know who stays behind. The God of Israel's army is always by my side.
This is War Cry. This is War Cry. And we are excited about being here with you today. war cry for our children. Somebody's got to go in the trenches and fight for our children. The government surely won't do it. This is war cry for our communities. Somebody's got to stand up and fight for our communities. The government surely is not going to do it. This is war cry for our schools. Somebody needs to crawl in the trenches and fight for our schools. The government won't do it. And this is war cry for our churches. Somebody needs to stand up and be like Jesus and tell the truth. This is war cry. And we welcome you back to another enlightening, engaging broadcast where we are delivering the truth to you, and you. And what do we want you to do with the truth? We want you to take anything we say, do the research, and come back to us and let us plan to take action to do some things to make a change. This is 2023. If it's going to be, it's going to be in 2023. And it starts with the power of one. This is war cry. We want to salute and honor the mothers. It was Mother's Day yesterday, but every day is Mother's Day. And you know what? It doesn't matter if you birthed a son or birthed a daughter. What matters is that you love on our girls and boys. Love on them. Our young adults need love. Love of them. Adopted mothers, foster mothers, stepmothers. We want you to love on children, period. We got so many things happening out there. We know that a lot of mothers was grieving yesterday for the first time because they lost their children through human trafficking. They lost their children through gun violence and murders, and also through cancer and various other diseases. So we want to pray for our mothers. It was hard. Even those that was dealing with the loss of their mothers for the first time, it was hard. So we don't want to take that away, because there's nothing like the life and the love of a mother. And if you are not a mother, I want you to go out and love on a child. Give a child something. Do an act of kindness. This is war cry. We tell you all the time, contact us at warcry.children@gmail.com and get a shirt that says, I'm praying for our children, because you need to stand in the gap, and your prayers matter. Your present matter, your prayers matter, and you matter to us. So hit everyone up, let them share it, and let them know this is War Cry. Oh, I am so excited about our host that's going to be on the air with us. Oh my God. We got a show, and we're talking back again about the Black agenda, about what we need to do as a people to mobilize and move forward. And guess what? I got to say one thing. I ain't scared. And these brothers over here, they're not scared either. I'm going to tell you, they're not scared. So if you're looking for some people, some apologetic people that's ready to move and take action, I think you came up with the right team. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and we're going to get right back into the conversation. Dr. O, you go first, followed by Dr. Johnson. You're mute. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. My apologies. I'm Dr. Onaji Mweed. They call me Baba J, or they call me Dr. O. And I happen to be the co-chair of the Health Commission, and also the co-chair of the National Association of Black Social Workers National Relations Committee. And
okay, I got to ask you a question. Are you scared?
Hell, no.
So you come on now, because we got warriors on this line. We got go back at you, Dr. O.
Yeah, no, I'm not scared at all. In fact, it's wonderful to have a purpose in life, have a direction in life, and have shoulders, strong shoulders. Who I stand on the shoulders of Irvin Davis. I stand on the shoulders of Marani and Rifu. I stand on the shoulders of Bob Knox. I stand on the shoulders of my father, Thomas Oliver. I can just keep going. But no, I'm not.
Okay, but I got a question. Mm-hmm. You said that you are standing on the shoulders of our other brothers and sisters that have went in front of us. Clarence Thomas say we don't stand on the shoulders of nobody.
That's another universe I don't choose to go into, because that's I'm standing. He can stand. He can say whatever he wants for his life. I'm saying for my life, I stand on the shoulders of all those that came before me, because I know that which I experience in this life is because of the sacrifices they made, and my life is dedicated to all the children that comes after me. I'm in that line.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dr. Johnson, introduce yourself, and then we go into Pastor.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters. It's a pleasure and a blessing to be here this morning. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Dr. Greg Johnson. I am a theologist.
You need to turn your mic up. Turn your mic up just a little bit.
I am a retired mental health therapist and theologist, and have used the history and the education that I have achieved to the glory of God. I'm a student of Dr. Henry Clark and Dr. Ben, who I sat under for about a good 15 years, and I sat under their tutelage and understanding, and I must say, with the knowledge that I also ascertained at the Manhattan Bible Theological Institute under the former Dr. Rupert Clark and Dr. Richard Christie, respectively. And I'm honored to be here, and I want to be here to help my people. And yes, I am a warrior. I ain't scared of nobody.
Also, I get. I don't even have to ask you if you're scared. You just volunteer soul there.
No. Ain't no time to be afraid. We don't give enough to fear. It's time to be a soldier.
Now, Clarence Thomas, Supreme Justice Clarence Thomas said that affirmative action, none of that really helped him. What do you think about that?
Well, I are going to respectfully be politically correct and Christ correct, so I will not deal with that question.
Okay, Pastor, you're up. Introduce yourself.
My name is Reverend Donald Gray. I'm the pastor of River of God Christian Center in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and I stand on the shoulder of Martin Luther King. I stand on the shoulder of Jesus Christ, more than all, my Lord and my Savior. I stand on the shoulder of Reverend Seymour of Azusa Street, who started the Pentecostal movement in the world, almost in the world, was a one-eyed black man. That's the shoulder I stand on. And I'm not ashamed of the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. Is the power of God unto salvation? Is everything to me. And I believe that what we need is a move of God in our community. I believe that if we get the move of God, and that if we pray and seek the face of God, we get together and pray. That's what Reverend Seymour did, and changed the whole of California in Azusa Street, and start a revival that sweep the whole world. And that's what we need in our community right now. And I think that's what is happening there in Red Hook. I've been there for 20 years, and God has been moving mightily, giving us resources and giving us what we need. Me there with Pastor Jamal, we're working together to get something done there.
Okay, now, are you scared?
No, I'm not scared. I'm not scared because I serve a man who parted the Red Sea. I serve a man who destroyed the armies of the enemy. I serve a God that is the God of all the world, of God of all the earth. So I'm not scared of nobody. And the other thing I must say is I also pack a gun.
Oh, wait a minute. You got the right brothers on the phone. No, engineer, get them off. This is violent, but bring the peaceful ones on. Oh, my God. So what would you say? Clarence Thomas said he didn't stand on nobody's shoulders. What would you say for him, Pastor, especially since you got the gun? What we want to say is registered. It is registered. It's licensed. It's legal.
Registered, licensed, and I have a bunch. So no matter. That is the fact of the matter is that I will say to him, he can talk all he want to talk. God bless him. I'm not gonna talk about a brother. I've never done that, and I will never do that. I'm not gonna bring him down to bring me up. I'm gonna say to him, I must leave it right there. He'll get to when they are done with him, he'll get his due.
Okay, all right. And audience, listeners, you can see that we have got a dynamic group here today. You know, it's getting hot. School is going to be out, and our kids are going to be on the streets. And you know what happens even the more when they're all on the street and don't even go to college. Here in Auburn, St. Albans, New York, we had a 16-year-old that was sitting in a car, a little girl that was shot in the middle of the head, and she's in critical. I don't know what has happened to her since
My
Saturday.
God.
We had 4 other people who got shot or in St. Albans, Springfield. 3 died, and one of the ones that didn't die but got shot was an 8-year-old. So this is just Queens. So we got 3 other boroughs that we deal with, and we're not talking about Chicago, Philadelphia, or anything like that. We're talking about New York. It's going to be a hot summer. We're going to need to have people, warriors, violent intercessors, people who are going to be on the corners, interceding on people's behalf. So it's going to be hot for us. Now, we want to start with you, Dr. O. We started talking about the Black agenda and what we really need to do and what our people need to do. And you was informing us about some things that we need to read, how we need to move, and about some things that's happening, not only in our communities, but with our bodies as well. Back at you, Dr. O.
Thank you so much. I would say that we need to know about the life of Callie House. My face is black is true. Callie House and the struggle for ex-slave reparations that was written by Mary Frances Barry. And this is a woman who started a campaign to, she said, if you didn't pay us for slavery, then you need to give us a pension. And the response of the federal government was to accuse her of mail fraud. And some of you are saying, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. Isn't it the same thing they did to Marcus Garvey? Yes. They did to her first. A ploy to silence her. And she did serve time for a crime that she did not commit. The only crime she committed was that she was a human being and she was asserting her rights to be a human being, and she was asserting the rights to be paid for slavery. So when we talk about the reparations movement, we can't talk about it without referencing Callie House and Reverend Dickerson. I was looking for the exact name of their organization. So fast forward, we have to recite the name of Queen Mother Moore. And I'm hoping that's not, oh, that's somebody trying to call me, sorry. Queen Mother Moore, who also carried on this torch. And then the organization I had mentioned, the National Coalition of Blacks Reparations, picked up that torch with the founding members like Imari Obadeli, a young man out of Detroit, Michigan, who started the Republic of New Africa, PhD in political science. And what he said is, when did we consent? Did we consent to be kidnapped? Did we consent to be transported? Did we consent to be terrorized? And this is the question that is before us. Did we consent to be an American citizen? Did anybody vote?
And you know, let me just step in there. I perfectly agree. And I want you guys, when we finish, to Google, somebody did an interview. I think it was maybe Roland Martin or Rasheen did an interview with Dr. Phil. And Dr. Phil makes this ludicrous statement. He's saying that they did this calculation. if we were given reparation, I think it came out to be $350,000. It's on the internet, it's on Google. And Dr. Phil said that, if we were to get the money, it would mess us up because we wouldn't know what to do with the money. And I think it's Roland Martin, and he says that how can Dr. Phil, who quote, was put in a position by a Black woman, Oprah, say this about something that he never knew anything about. So I want to just have you guys listen to that. It's white people trying to control what we should be getting, and they're trying to measure the amount we should be given for the pain that we went through, which is ludicrous to me. I'm going to hit you, Dr. Johnson. What do you have to say about these conversations?
Well, regards to Dr. Phil is nothing but a planted joke, if you really want to be honest with it. That's all it is. He was somebody who knew Oprah Winfrey while they were in therapy together, mental health therapy, problems of living, and their ability to adjust to dealing with themselves. You have a man who's on TV right now trying to help everybody else, and it wasn't too long ago that he was seeking help. And when you listen to his talking, and I've listened to Dr. Phil's talking on several occasions, I watch his program. Dr. Phil ain't nothing but a closet racist. That's all he is anyway. That's what he's always been. And he's all wrapped up in the white supremacy agenda. And sure, he is not going to agree to giving Black folks reparations. You know why? Because that envy and jealousy stands up him when he hears that. He doesn't feel we deserve it.
Now, how do you feel about this push for us to get reparation?
We are more than entitled, and yes, we deserve it. Anytime you work in this country or anytime you work for anybody for 250 years for free, no pension, no servants pay, no medical insurance, no land, and the land that you just gave us was stolen away. Let's put a white person in that category, and let's see how they will feel about that. They will give them reparations without a second notice. Wouldn't have to go through Congress.
Well, we know
that our brother
gave reparations to white ex-slave owners back in 1865. Reparations been given.
Just true.
It was given.
That's true, but not to the level. Let me say this. The fact of the matter that the Jews got reparation for the 6 million people that died in the Holocaust, right? And I just believe that we should get reparation, including the 10 million people who died in passageway coming to the shores of the European and the Western world. Everything should be involved, be on the table. You're talking about $300,000. That is a joke. I'm telling you right now, I believe that we as a people, we don't need to be listening to Dr. Phil or CNN, Fox News. I don't care who they are. We need to be listening to ourselves. Like stations like this, we need to be talking with ourselves to get together the figure that we need and go and protest whatever we have to do to get it. We are trying to beg them for our reparation. No, we must demand it. We have a right to this money legally. And in every way, we have a right to this money. Our forefathers work. No, I am Jamaican, so I'm going after the English. I'm with a group trying to go after the English folks who put us in slavery in Jamaica. So I'm not worried about you guys. I'm going to fight with you guys, but I know for a fact that we need to fight together. We need to stop letting them divide and conquer us. That's what they're doing. Once you watch Dr. Phil, I don't watch that show. I don't watch all them stupid shows. It don't make sense to me. I watch people who talk about money, how we get that money, that green, How do we get it? Come together and say, listen, me, this is what we're gonna do legally. We have good lawyers out there. That's what the Jews did. They had good lawyers, and they stood up and they fought, and they got $40 billion from Germany and other nations.
And let me come in. Also, it was some type of restitution given to the Indians as well.
And the Japanese.
To the Indian nation.
And the Japanese.
Yes. So we should be in line with that. Dr. O, back at you. I want back pay. I want my back pay. I'm with you, Pastor. Give us the back pay. Give us all that money that was, guess what, that our forebrothers and sisters died for. And let me tell you something. I'm going to throw this in. The Black Catholic bishops have a letter before Pope Francis right now asking him to come up and renounce slavery. This is the Black Catholic bishops. They say slavery needs to be renounced right now. Who want to jump in? Jump in.
It is
Dr. O.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that. That's good news.
Yes, it is.
Yes, let me tell you something. I have some great friends, and I'm not going to call their names. We're on the air, but I was present. They're asking Pope Francis, the Black Catholic bishops are asking Pope Francis to come and renounce slavery and say that they were victims. This was a terrorist act did by the Roman Catholic Church. Don't get me started. I'm just war cry, and I'm putting it out there for our people. Wake up, stay woke, do your research, because this is something we're going to take care of. Go at you, Dr. O. I mean, back at you, Pastor. You knew something about that, Pastor, about the Black Catholic
I knew
bishops?
something about that. But the fact is this: is that I folks who talk about the amount, we haven't gotten to the amount yet, because we have not sat down and figure out what happened to us from the time, even from after emancipation. We haven't even figured out all of that coming up, what we went through, the mental thing, the health. Yeah, I'm a biomedical engineer. I've been in the hospital system for years. I retired, right? So I know what goes on in the hospital system. We haven't gotten proper health care, mental care. There's a whole bunch of stuff we have to put on the table, because all that money, back money, as you said, sister, back money will take care of our mental problem. We need a lot of money to deal with our issues.
And our communities. Dr. O, at you.
Yes, we need these things. There's a concept called devolution. When a nation has been subverted by another nation state, and that nation that's been oppressed seeks to control its own institutions again, it's called devolution, right? Scotland, for example, you look at Scotland, and now they control their health system, they control their penal system, they control their education system. So we have to talk about not just money per se, but how do we start to control our institutions so that we can control our communities? Because giving a micro solution to a macro problem just means that the problem will continue. We need to have a macro solution to a macro problem, which is oppression, national oppression. Mm-hmm. So our thinking has to be not just a question of money, but the repair that's needed, right? What is the scale of repair?
Amen. That's it.
That's going to be able to repair our emotions, repair our relationships, and repair our community. I look at this thing called social ecology. That is the thing, the most precious thing we have is each other. Why? Because we are each other's medicine. So until we create those kind of relationships amongst ourselves, we're going to continue to hurt ourselves, because they say hurt people, right? Mm-hmm. But now we're talking about healed people, heal people. So we have to now create a new culture of healing one another. And we need the work of Pastor Gray as a biomedical engineer. We need the work of Dr. Gregory Johnson. We need your voice. It's us coming together and creating these places. I call these liberated zones. The more liberated zones we create, the more liberation we can experience, which is the liberation of each other, for us to love each other, to respect each other, to assist each other, support each other in the work that we have to do to grow ourselves, to grow our souls, and to grow our communities.
Absolutely. Dr. Johnson. Oh, wait, let me let Dr. Johnson come in, Pastor Gray. Just Dr. Johnson, come in for a minute.
I would like to deal with this question that's in front of us right now from a historical perspective and viewpoint. It began really in at the Council of Nicaea, 325 AD, under that thug Constantine, from a scriptural basis. From a scriptural basis, it was prophesied by three major prophets: Moses, Jeremiah, and Isaiah, and one minor prophet, Obadiah. Okay, what we are going through now, everything that we're talking about in need of reparations, the sufferings that we go through, it's already been noted, and we walk around and with it every day, but nobody's, unfortunately, is reading and studying. I was watching a program last night, and I think every Black American should watch this, and they put it on last night on the Showtime channel at 1 o'clock in the morning. It was called The Human Factor. This program, 2.5 hours long, it actually showed white supremacy like you've never seen it before, called The Human Factor. It showed where the white supremacist is in the influx, in the position, and they went all the way back to the President Bush, 1991, George Bush. It showed the hypocrisy of the United States and its conglomeration with the land they call Israel right now, and it also showed where they both joined up against the Palestinians, and it also gave the blueprint of how they are controlling people of color in the United States of America. This thing has been going on for so long. It is so embedded. They're not even ashamed to talk about it anymore. And I was saying, they put a show like this for everybody to see and let you know they don't care. It lets you know also how threatened they are and how determined they are to maintain social control and power over us. We are an occupied force, and we are an enemy that everybody fears. Everybody.
Now let me just jump in here. Let me jump in here for a minute. One of the systematic plans has always been to destroy the Black man, because the Black man is the leader of his family. The Black man not only leads his family, he has creativity, he has unlimited abilities to do. And so they have put an attack on the Black man as to break up the family structure. And it has always been that way. It's to take the head, bring up the Black woman, and make us think we're the head, and destroy the Black man at a time like this. And it's been going on. If this country could send trillions of dollars over to Ukraine, and I don't mind helping people over on the other shores, but they can't help us, and we're dying, going into mental institutions, going into the prison systems by the droves. What do you think about that? Let's talk about that for a minute. Pastor, at you.
I do mind sending trillions of dollars to Ukraine, because that's a racist society. I'm taking my Black dollars, my taxpayer money, and they're sending it over to do their war. The fact of the matter, but they can't give us. They can't not give us, pay us, as you say, $300,000. That is a minuscule, a small amount of what they're giving to the Ukraine. And I'm saying to you, because we don't know the history of the Ukraine, they're white supremacists too. If you want to deal with it, they don't like you or me. You go over there, and I have friends who were missionaries over there, went as missionaries. They didn't even want to deal with him. So the fact is, we need to start dealing with what we're dealing with. What we're dealing with, we want our money. We want the money, the back money of our foreparents who worked the farms, who worked the fields, and did not get paid. We are legally asking for back pay for my forefathers. Simple as that.
And we've got black people, we got people homeless, we got people without jobs, but we sending money over there. We got neighborhoods in our urban areas that the light bulbs are broken in the street lights, that people are afraid to walk on the streets because they'll get robbed. Dr. O, back at you.
You know, it was Congressman Conyers who created a bill that would prevent any money from going to Ukraine. Because he was able to do their research in terms of who they are and their contribution to Nazism and all kinds of white supremacy ideas. So we need to go back and look at the genius that our people have used to explain the world. It's so unfortunate that we don't pay attention to our wonderful heroes. Dr. Martin Luther King said there's three evils. He said 3 triple evils of racism, of militarism, and poverty. And that's we have to look at those things and say, okay, how then do you understand that? The best way to understand that is to understand that we're living in a domestic colony. This is what King said. I didn't say Malcolm X. Dr. King said we are living in domestic colonies. Only when we have the political sophistication to understand the true nature of our problem, we'll be able to solve it. You can't solve a problem without knowing what it actually is. So we're living under domestic colonialism. And as a result of that, the only way that we're going to see any redress is to move inside of the circles of United Nations. Right now, we are having what is called the second Permanent Forum for People of African Descent at the United Nations, the last of the month and the 1st of June. This is a very big deal because this is the first time we have an official organ inside of the United Nations that's bringing African people's problems from all over the world. So
could you just repeat that again? Repeat that again so our engineers could put that on the screen. Because is it going to be open for the public,
yes,
or will it be a closed section?
No,
repeat it again.
It's the Permanent Forum for People of African Descent. That's going to be held. The first one was held in Geneva back in December. And this is the second meeting that's going to be at the United Nations, May 31st to June 2nd, June 3rd, at the headquarters in New York City. You have to register in order to get accepted. I don't know what the capacity is, but even if you don't get accepted to the official United Nations event, there are other side events that's happening in New York City. So if people have access to stay in New York City, that's a good time to be there, because you're going to see people converging from all over the world. One of the greatest moments I've experienced in my life is when I was in Durban, South Africa, as a delegate to the United Nations World Conference Against Racism. And there we had Black people from all over the world, and we had our own interpreters speaking through Portuguese, French, English, you name it, and to hear us speak to each other. And the sad thing about it, everyone was saying the same thing in terms of the problems that we are facing, because the same problems that Black men is facing in Jamaica is the same one that they're facing in Kentucky, same thing in France. So now we're beginning to see the total picture, right? That's called imperialism. When we see the big picture, we go from colonialism to imperialism. So we're starting to see it. And as a result of seeing it, we're starting to make these kind of demands for a change.
Wow. Dr. Johnson, you want to come in?
I am very enthused by Dr. O's information that he just
Yes, me too.
And I'm just thinking, that conference that's going to be taking place in about 2 weeks, that is going to be heavily monitored by the National Security Council and the CIA. And everybody who attends that conference is going to be screened. If the United States is going to allow a conference like that to come here, believe me, they got another agenda on the way. They want to see who's who and who's thinking and who's talking. So this conference is much needed, but we should be on our guard at the same time. And this is going to be astronomical, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to want to go to conference, and I'm pretty sure there are going to be some people that they won't even allow in that conference.
No,
This is well planned.
that's so good.
All right. Okay, Pastor Gray.
Yeah,
You know, me and you got to be there. Me and you got to be there, brother.
you gotta be there. Yes, I
Go ahead.
be there. I plan, Doctor. God, thank you for that information, and I'm gonna make sure I get there. I find a way. I'm gonna apply and do what I have to do to get there, because that is important for us. But I want to tell you that Africans are moving. You know, I remember years ago. I want you remember Gil Noble.
Oh yes, that was my
remember when he used to
my
come on,
TV father.
he used to come on Mike like it is, and he said one thing that stuck in my brain, and that's what I pray about every day, because we know it's happening already and we don't even know it. What he said was that when Africa get their act together economically, socially, and every way, shape, or form, he said when we get our act together, the West will be turned into a tailspin that they will never be able to recover. And I'm saying this right now. Africa is moving. It may be slow, and I think it's moving fast, because, you know, Silicon Valley is now ready to put a Silicon Valley in Nigeria. Most of you don't know that, right? They are recruiting all these African geniuses, because all we hear about is the Indians and the Chinese when it comes to AI, or where we come to hear about electronics and engineering. But they're African engineers that are developing software. As a matter of fact, Apple had to go to them in Nigeria because they're making a menace of their security systems. They're the only people who were doing that. So they went there, got them, and bring them to United States. They're bringing them there and giving them homes, millions of dollars to create their software, the AI software. They're weird people. I know friends in Ghana, in Nigeria, in South Africa. They are developing software that is way ahead of these people, even in MIT. So and I know that for a fact, and that's what is happening. But they're not going to tell us. The news media is not going to tell us about this. They think that we are dumb. We have all the Indians. They know about computers. But let me tell you something. These Africans, they know so much about AI. We need to link with them, because we're going to need that in these times of artificial intelligence.
Well, you know,
let
me share with you that ICROM, the International Human Rights Association for American Minorities, with historically Black colleges, also college universities in Africa, as well as the Caribbean, have been meeting for the last 3 years to have educational exchange. So it's already begun. It's not close, and we have a shadow meeting at the United Nations. But I want to bring something to our attention that we might have overlooked. Behind Pastor Gray, you see the bottom of his lamp. Everybody can see that heart up, down, up. That heart that's upside down.
Yeah,
that is the symbol of Sankofa. So our ancestors in this moment are telling us to stand straight up. That symbol that you're looking at is the symbol for Sankofa. Sankofa is a word from Ghana, a Dinkra symbol that means go back and fetch it. That which you lost, to go back and fetch it. So if you start to look around and see all these symbols that come from the Dinkra symbols, you begin to see that our ancestors was giving us messages. Right here today, looking right at your screen, Pastor Gray, we see that Dinkra symbol meaning Sankofa, to go back and fetch what you lost. The bird is a Sankofa bird, and the bird takes a twig from its nest, from the old nest, and brings it to the new nest. We have to go back and fetch ourselves because we've lost it. Malcolm said, you know, you don't think you lost anything in Africa? Well, you left your mind in Africa. We are now in the process of regaining our minds where we can think like Marcus Garvey taught us how to think. He said, black man, he said, white man, are you mad? Do you think you can rule the world? Asia for the Asiatics, European for Europeans, and above all, Africa for the Africans. And this is what you're talking about, Pastor Gray, and I'm with you. I'm with you.
Oh yes, we have to start linking. You know, Marcus Garvey, he tried to link us, get us back to Africa, right?
Over 6 million people was a part of the UNIA.
Yeah. So the thing is that we as African Americans, we need to link up with Nigerians, link up with Ghanaians, link up with these people. Stop going to France and Italy and London. I haven't been. Start going to Africa. Start doing a vacation in Africa and African nations. Like go there and talk to people, get to know people. Stop talking about, oh man, I went to France. I've not been to one European country. I have family in Europe, and I refuse to go there. I don't see no sense in me going there. I want to go to Africa. I want to go to because one of you get this idea. Mount Sinai. Where is Mount Sinai? Where is Mount Sinai? Hey, no one you know what it meant. Where's Mount Sinai? We talk about Mount Sinai in the Bible. Where's it?
It's in Arabia.
It's in Saudi Arabia. When the children of Israel left Egypt and head on, when he went up to the mountain, Mount Sinai is in Saudi Arabia, not in Israel. Most pastors talk and say it's in Israel, right? It's in Africa.
It's in Africa. Back at you, Dr. Johnson. Dr. Johnson, come on, because I done got Pastor Gray is fired up. I think we're ready now for a revolution. Do you want a revolution? Ooh. Do you want a revolution? Ooh. I think Kirk Franklin. Dr. Johnson.
I am so happy this morning. I haven't felt this in a long time. So, you know, when you're talking about Africa, I remember Dr. Ben and Dr. John Henry Clark. They said something, and this was about 20 years ago, and I'll never forget it. He said, the liberation of the black race, the black woman, and the black man will begin in Africa. He said that specifically. It will begin in Africa. He says, not here in the United States, because the psychological damage that has been done to us through slavery is going to slow it down. But in Africa, that's where it's going to begin. There was a black sister, I can't think of her name. She was a conduit between the United States and Africa, and she began to speak about white imperialism from the United States and talked about the destruction and how the land of Africa has been ripped of all of its natural resources, its money. He said, actually, it was economic genocide. The United States fired her from that position the next week. Now you have some African.
Dr. Johnson, let me just come in. Pastor Gray, he's speaking about that African queen that was at Action Network. That was the African queen from Libya that was speaking, that they gave her such a hard time. That's who he's speaking with. Dr. Sharpton brought her over to explain to us what was going on. Back at you, Dr. Johnson.
But when you look at how those African presidents stood up to the United States with regard to the LGBTQ community, they're trying to push the Western immorality in Africa. They stood up and they united. They said, we ain't having that over here. Now, you keep your money and you keep your Western thoughts over there. The United States is so angry right now. Even the politics in America is gotten up to stand up. Now they want to bring reparations against Africa because they won't allow the LGBT community. You see the hypocrisy going on here?
Oh Lord.
You see that? What's going on? Here's some
and Dr. Johnson, I want to add this. They've cut the funding going to Africa. They've pulled back funding for Africa because Africa, Ghana, Nigeria are standing up against that agenda. Back at you, Dr. Johnson.
Well, you know who's going to really hurt? America. And I believe God is going to be behind Africa when you stand up for what's right in the eyes of God, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Those presidents told the United States, keep your money. We got more money than y'all could ever even dream of right over here. The natural resources that are in Africa is second to nobody. Why do you think y'all been robbing us for centuries? He reminded them of that. Now you keep your money. We got money and we got resources that we are putting into play. Africa is standing up. The backbone of that continent is coming to place.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. And they're looking at America and looking at her and vote for 2 hours. Keep your money. We're gonna be fine.
We have
we
all
must
that we
stand.
need. We have all
We must
that
stand
we
with
need.
Africa.
All the
That's right.
Rare earth, all the stuff that comes out of the ground to run their AI system and their electronic system, and all their system comes out of the Congo, comes out of Africa, comes from that nation. We just need to come together and stand together and start owning our resources. So these Chinese, these Russians, these Americans, don't push aside them Chinese. They're the wickedest, evilest people on earth. I'm telling you that right now. Them Russians, they're the same like who we're dealing with right now. We need to own our resources.
And we're going to stand with Africa. We're going to stand with Africa. As a matter of fact, we want to own the news media, because he who influences communication navigates the minds of others. Wow. So we need to start owning our news media. And that's something that we're working on. We want to have our own stations, because guess what? We want the urban people to begin to speak. We're the ones here that know the needs of our people, not the ones in the White House, not the ones in the government. They're making rules and regulations that don't affect us. If Biden can send trillions over to Ukraine, why can't you send a couple million over to help us in our urban areas, work with our young people, get vocational schools back? We need to teach our young people to love themselves. Back at you, Dr. O.
Yeah, that's because we're a colony. Until we realize that, we'll be treated like political people that we are. We have to grow with our political consciousness, but it also means we have to do what we can do. I'd like to ask us to start a Susu campaign.
That's I love
that. Because
yes,
when we start to be in community with each other, first of all, creating relationship, that's the first level. The second level is changing resources and the skills that we have to help each other. Maybe somebody can be good at doing a website. Somebody can be teaching math. Starting to exchange the skills and talents that we have. And then only after then, we go to the third level in terms of having a Susu circle. But it's not a regular Susu that we already know about. This Susu is called the business Susu because you create another chair. I'll give you an example. You have 3 people, right? They put in $25. But they have to create another $25. So they have to put in their $25 plus another $8. So that's $32. So they'll have $100. And that fourth chair is the business chair, so that after they talk about, what they want to do, they decide who's going to get the business chair first, who's going to get the business chair second, and who's going to get the business chair third. Once you start doing that, that's one circle. Then you have another circle. Then you have another circle. Before you know it, you have a regional. So this is a very easy thing to do, but you know what's missing? The critical thing is trust.
That's and that's what you're just saying what the Jews are doing. Where does the Jews get their money when they want to buy property? They go to the synagogue, because in there is all the information that they need, and most of their money are linked with bags where? In Israel.
Yeah. So we have to do the same thing. So only when we build these Susu circles, it's a business Susu circle. You still get your personal one, right? Because it's 4 now. It's only 3 of you. You still get your individual Susu, but when that business chair comes around, it goes to. So it can be $100. It can be $1,000. It can be $10,000. But the mere fact that you have many of those things actually linking up with the other ones, that's how we begin to self-finance, and then nobody can tell us what to do with our money because it's our money.
Doctor,
absolutely. Dr. Johnson, what you think?
I need that information, doctor, from you. I need you to send me that information.
I think that is an excellent idea. as the pastor was talking about how the Gentile Jews go to the synagogue. Well, we are the descendants of the original Hebrews.
Come on now.
And when we look at and begin to understand who we are, now we don't call it synagogue over here now, we call it the church. But the church can do the same thing as those synagogues are doing. Because they really not synagogues when you want to be honest with you. But anyway, we're going to leave that one alone. But as a people, remember, the systematic theology and the systematic data and the manipulation has always been to keep us divided. Divided and conquered. There was a statement that the wickedest FBI director ever known in the world, J. Edgar Hoover, says the greatest threat to America is black unity. He said that in 1971.
That's true.
True statement will never, and nobody seemed to pay attention to it.
Right.
When he said the greatest threat to America is black unity, because when black folks come together, white folks get upset. They get scared. When the Black Panthers, when the Nation of Islam, when SNCC, when CORE, all of them got together, and what Malcolm X wanted to do, and before he was killed, he wanted to do it in conglomeration with Dr. King, the coming together. This is what they meant. They wanted to stop creation of a black Messiah. They don't. This feels
Absolutely. And this is War Cry. And we're broadcasting all the way from New York. This is a cry out for our children, our communities, our schools, our churches, and to galvanize our people together for action. Did we make you mad? I'm glad we made you mad. So that means you should listen in next week at 11 o'clock for more solutions. We want you to get uncomfortable. You've been comfortable too long. That's why we've been immobilized. Now it's time for us to mobilize and go out for action. We ain't scared. This is War Cry. Hit us on my website, War Cry for Our Children, warcry.gmail.com. Let me know. I am praying for our children. Will you stand in the gap and pray for our children? You can buy a t-shirt that says, I'm praying for our children. Send me your size. Pick a school district that you're going to be praying for. Go out with the shirt on and let the world know that the people of God ain't scared. Because we ain't scared. That's warcry.children@gmail.com. If you don't even have the money, I'll send you a free t-shirt. Send me the names of the people I need to pray for. warcry.children@gmail.com. Come on, it's time for us to let the world know that we're not scared. Now we're going to get back to each co-host that's here with me. We thank you, and we want to give you 2 minutes to give a summation. And guess what? Give the listening audience a word that they could chew on for the rest of the week. You, Pastor, first.
Well, there's a scripture that says that we are surrounded in Hebrews chapter 12. There's so great a cloud of witnesses. The doctor was talking about it, about that bird that he was talking about. That's very interesting. But I'm going to say to you, we have ancestors and people in heaven who are rooting for us. We don't need anybody, but we need to pray. We need to get involved with our churches and get together and start building. Right now,
one word. Give me one word. Give me one word.
One word. We need to build. We need
build.
To
okay, and you, Dr. O. We are excited, Dr. O. He may have left because he did tell me he had to go off. All right, Dr. Johnson, give me a summation and one word.
Well, I would like to speak to our black men briefly. Let us come back together and recognize who we are. We are the glory of God.
Yes.
We are the backbone of this society.
Yes.
We need to come back together. Let us pull your pants up. Stop being lovers of another man. Love the most beautiful thing that God ever created, a woman. Grab hold your son and your daughter. bring the family back together. And the family, that's where power begins. Black man, stand up and become united. Look in the mirror.
One word.
Unity.
And my closing remarks is that start loving yourself, black people. Start loving the skin that you're in. You don't have to change it. You can love the way God created you to be. Let us come together. We're going to have a group of young people because we want to hear from you. Because guess what? We need you to know your identity. Your identity is not in mutilating your body. Your identity is in Christ and loving yourself. Church, wake up. We need your help. We need your support. We need you to come in line. This is War Cry. War Cry. See you next week. Engineers. This is War Cry. We're on the wall crying out for our children, our communities, our schools, our churches, our families. This is War Cry. Welcome to our reality. Gun violence, Chicago, Philly, Detroit, New York, Atlanta, just to name a few. Our black children are dying day by day. This is War Cry. Police brutality. Hands up! Don't move. I can't breathe. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Hashtag All Lives Matter to Christ. This is War Cry. Drugs, rape, mass shootings, school violence. This is War Cry, galvanizing people to pray for our children and to take action. Let's march on Washington. We want prayer back in school. This is War Cry, candles, memorials in every corner in our neighborhood. Who died this weekend? Oh no, not Miss Martha's grandson. This is War Cry. He was only 16. His brother died last year. He was only 13. This is War Cry. We the people. We're the elected officials. This is War Cry. We need the church. Where's the church? Only on Sundays. Get to the streets, church. We need you out there. This is War Cry. Girl, be gone. Boy, be gone. Mothers crying. Fathers being locked up. Welcome to our reality. Identity crisis. This is War Cry. Oh, they're trying to remove our history off the textbook. Oh, critical race theory? It makes them feel bad. It's our reality. Fake reality shows. We want the real truth. Stay woke. This is War Cry. HBCUs under attack. This is War Cry. Equal pay for what we do. We want a reparation. This is War Cry. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Wait a minute. Is that somebody else they're burying that looks like us? Only 12. This is War Cry. Oh, let us come together and pray for our young people, pray for our communities, pray for our schools, pray for our churches, pray that the government gives us what we need, a fair opportunity. This is War Cry, home of the land, home of the brave, land of the free. Who's free? Our men are locked up. This is War Cry. Hashtag mothers against gang violence. Hashtag fathers who love their sons. Hashtag what would Jesus do? This is War Cry.